Delegates, please join me in welcoming Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown with President Weller.
Good morning, Lieutenant Governor, and thank you very much for joining us this morning. We're excited to have you here as one of a number of possible candidates for governor in the year 2014, and we appreciate your service as Lieutenant Governor. Thank you so much. First question. Tell us about how you see the future of Maryland and your vision for our state. Can you share with us your unique background, interests, and priorities for Maryland's future?
Sure, thanks a lot. First of all, Betty, thank you very much, and the leadership here at MSEA, the members of the board, and to all the members. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I've had the opportunity to come for a number of years and offer remarks, and it's great to be back. So thanks for having me. And you know what, I have to start by giving you the last update. It may be the last update on my daughter, Rebecca. Many of you know that every time I come down, I share with you what Rebecca's doing. Well, thanks to you and the wonderful educators at Bowie High School, Rebecca is now a Banneker Key Scholar at the University of Maryland College Park.
Very nice.
And many of you may recall during her years, they weren't always easy years. Middle school was a tough go for her, but her teachers and all the educators in every building where she received a fine education believed in her, and because of that, she's made her father proud, her family proud, and one day, certainly the community proud because of her achievements. Look, Maryland's a great state. Maryland is a great state. Over the last few years, we've had the opportunity to build the best schools in the country. Together, we have reduced crime to record lows. Together, we are cleaning the Chesapeake, expanding health care. Together, we have balanced a budget 6 years through recovery after a recession while maintaining our priorities in education, health care, and the environment. But Maryland can be better, and Maryland can be better for more Marylanders. We've got the best schools in the country, but it's not enough to say that, yep, we're making progress in AP participation and performance, and we are. It's not enough for Harvard University to recognize that in the last 20 years we've made the greatest gains on standardized tests. That's not enough. It's not enough unless every child in Maryland, whether you live in Bethesda, Baltimore, across the bridge here in Berlin, has access to a world-class education, and that begins with you, the educators, the highly qualified teachers in the front of the class. And how do we ensure that? We make sure that in the state that we do our job. 6 years ago, Governor O'Malley and I, we promised that we would fully fund Thornton, including the Geographic Cost of Education Index, and we made good on that promise, but we still have more work to do. We said that we would do everything we could to take students out of temporary learning trailers and put them into technology-ready classrooms, and we've done that together. But we still have more work to do. It's not enough when 50% of African-American 8th graders are proficient on 8th grade math compared to 83% of other students. It's not enough when 60% or so of children on free and reduced lunch program are proficient in 8th grade reading compared to 90% of their other classmates. We've made progress. We still have a lot of work to do, and we're going to do that together. And we're going to do it by making sure that the state maintains its commitment to educators and our students.
Thank you. MSEA has never been a single-issue organization. We have an expansive legislative and social justice agenda, which has overlapped at the local or state level with your work as an elected official. Can you share an example of an issue you have partnered with MSEA or one of our local affiliates on in pursuit of a shared priority?
First of all, let me thank MSEA, for your advocacy for students, education, and the progress we've made there. But I want to thank you for your broader agenda. whether it's helping us reduce childhood hunger and what we're doing in delivering more meals in the classroom, whether it's your participation in the Tell Maryland survey to make sure that your input is a big part in how we develop education policy in Maryland, or whether it's your work on marriage equality and making sure that we can live in a state where we recognize the dignity of every individual. And also the work that you're doing on the DREAM Act, and to ensure that every child in Maryland, we say to children, work hard in school, do what you're asked in school and at home, and you'll be ready to go to college, yet we don't make college affordable for all of our students. My father grew up in Kingston, Jamaica, in a very, Kingston, huh? Yeah, man.
Come on.
My father grew up in Kingston, Jamaica, in a very poor community. He came to this country to get a good education and was the first in our family to go to college. He then went to medical school, and as a doctor his entire career served in some of the poorest neighborhoods and communities near where I grew up. He was only able to do that with a college education. There are dreamers out there in Maryland who are in this country without documentation, but they are not going to be able to access college like my Rebecca and like my father and so many other children unless we're successful in the DREAM Act. One of the most proud moments that I had 10 years ago in 2002 was to push a green button on the floor of the House of Delegates when we passed the DREAM Act in 2003, only to see it vetoed by Governor Ehrlich. Well, today we're going to make the dream a reality, and we're going to make it a reality because MSEA is on the front line to make sure that every student in Maryland is going to have access to a world-class college education at an affordable price. I thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Our last question. Typically, everyone has at least one educator who has made an outsized impact on their life. Who is that educator for you? And how did he or she help shape how you think about education and who you are today?
Okay, I'm going to have to cry foul. I was told that they were going to be easy questions. One educator, impossible to name. I can tell you about Mr. Donofrio. He was the custodian in my elementary school, and he taught me to take pride in your work. Every day I came to school, it was the most well-maintained building in the district, and he took pride in his work. I can tell you about the ladies on the lunch line in my junior high school who would remind me more than once a week that the 55 cents my mother sent me to school with to buy lunch wasn't for chocolate milk and chocolate chip cookies. But instead, I needed a balanced meal and nutrition to make it through the day. I can tell you about Mrs. Coronado, my PE teacher. She knew long before I did that I was never going to make it to the NFL. But instead of discouraging me, she did encourage me, but she also encouraged me to focus on preparing myself for college, because she told me that even if you are successful in the NFL, you're going to need a good college education to succeed beyond it. Or maybe it was my 11th grade AP chemistry teacher, Mr. Galbraith. Mr. Galbraith had been teaching AP chemistry for 15 years. He had never had an African-American student successfully complete that class. The first quarter, I got a D. He worked with me every day, in class and after school, and he believed in me. He said, Anthony, if you work hard, you can succeed. And not only did I turn the D into an A, but I got a 4 on the AP exam. And the one thing that they all had in common, Mr. Donofrio and the ladies on the lunch line, Miss Coronado and Mr. Galbraith, was that they believed in me. They believed in me, and they cared about me, and they showed it each and every day. I see, as I look out here in each and every one of you, I see a Mr. Donofrio, I see a Miss Coronado, I see some of the ladies and now men on the lunch count line, and I see the Mr. Galbraith. Your students will know your name years from now because you care about them. Your students will know your name because you believe in them. And your students will know your name because, like the educators in my life, you are giving it everything you've got. I believe in what you're doing because I believe that you believe in your students. Together, we are going to make a difference to make sure that every one of your students are going to be successful in life.
Okay. We have just a little bit of time left.
Well, I did want to take this opportunity, again, to thank you for allowing me to be here this morning. And I enjoy every year to be able to come down to the MSEA conference and throughout the year to work with you, and I meet so many of you in your schools and your students. But I did want to take this opportunity. I know you've got a difficult decision that you're going to be making real soon on question 7, expanded gaming in Maryland. It's not an easy issue. I did want to share with you why I'm supporting question 7. We have made a commitment to fully funding education in Maryland, and we will keep that commitment. If we pass question 7, it gives us an opportunity to meet that commitment, as well as all of the other commitments in our state that feed into what you're doing in the classrooms. Because while we have got a 45% increased funding in our classrooms today than over what we were doing 6 years ago, every other part of government we've had to make reductions. Every other part of government we've had to make reductions. I'm supporting question 7 because we need the $225 million that are going to go into our schools. I don't want to see that money supporting schools in West Virginia. I don't want to see that money supporting schools in Pennsylvania. I don't want to see that money supporting schools in Delaware. As you know, to fund our schools, it takes both the state and the local level. A majority of the residents in Prince George's County, where question 7 is really focused on an additional venue, a majority of the residents in Prince George's County support question 7 because we know that our county is having difficulty funding its share of education. It's a partnership, state and county. County Executive Baker says, I need resources. I'm supporting question 7. I support County Executive Rashawn Baker, but more importantly, I support our students in Prince George's County and around the state. Please vote yes on question 7.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great day.